Good evening, people. Good evening. All right, so right off the bat, I'm going to start off with my little disclaimer. As you know, I am not giving legal advice here. I'm not giving financial advice here. Please do your own research. Hire a professional if you're, having a legal issue. Consult with an attorney that's admitted in an appropriate jurisdiction. Um, and pay people for financial advice or legal advice or whatever. It's definitely important um, to get that advice if you can afford it, or do your own research, operate at your own peril, but just don't take whatever I'm saying as gospel. Remember, I'm a stay-at-home dad who has a lot on his plate, doing a lot of things with his life. So um, I'm doing these videos, mostly to try to get some of this news out, and then for my own peace of mind and mental health. So I have my selfish reasons. But that all said, I wanted to talk about the Sndl and Alcana situation. Um, Tomorrow's January 18th, and as you read their announcement closely, they're supposed to be applying to the court for the final order, allowing them to proceed with this acquisition by Sndl. So Alcana is set to do this at 3 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. So I doubt we'll get any kind of news that's going to, severely impact the market. Um, there was also a requirement to, like, if someone wanted to show up here and to do some type of a last minute challenge, they should have already given notice. Um, I think Alcana will let them slide if they haven't. And let them present anyway, but there's still a chance for shareholders that feel aggrieved in some way by the last minute changes. There's still a chance that some of them can appear and state their case and try to delay or stop this. I don't think it's very likely, but again, who the hell am I and how do I know? So there are those dissent rights that can still come up. So that's something to think about. But that said, um, the other thing a lot of people are talking about with Sundial is the upcoming deadline that could possibly be to try to get them delisted from Nasdaq. Um, Again, I don't take that as seriously. This If you're investing in Sundial, yes, awesome that there's this chance that it's going to skyrocket and it can be somewhat volatile like that and jump up in price, especially if there's some kind of big news or if there's legalization in the states that there's a whole rise in that industry. But that's great. But we or I am talking about Sundial because it's a penny stock. You're getting it for cheap right now, so you don't need a lot of money to invest in it. Um, and it has the potential because I think legalization is going to happen. I'm hoping this year, with the midterm elections, that there's some type of movement on federal legalization. But even if it doesn't happen this year, I think it's going to happen eventually by the next presidential election or sooner. Um, but that's again my prediction. Who the hell am I? Do your research. Move on your own feelings. Um, Consult a professional. But that's where I'm at. That's why I'm jumping in. So it's like great. Maybe I'll be able to take some profits in the short term if there is some kind of big catalyst. But I plan on holding in the long term until there's legalization in the states. So as far as that goes, let's talk about some of the news that's been going on. in the States, or I guess everywhere in the world. So we have a lot of countries are making very huge steps or have already started legalizing in Europe. So that's been big news. So look out for those headlines. They're gonna keep rolling in, and I think that's gonna put positive pressure on the states um, to get legalization done. There's and I haven't heard too much about this, and now it was just reported, I think, in the beginning of December. Um, but Visa had sent out a letter basically threatening a crackdown on the cashless ATMs that is a popular thing that uh, medical marijuana retailers are in the states are using to get the money from the client. So basically, it's like a $3 ATM fee or whatever their fee is, and you basically pull out the cash, but they never give you the cash. You use your ATM, you put your PIN in, you pull out a certain amount of cash. They never give you that cash in hand. Instead, it gets transferred to whatever account that they want. And in exchange for that, you basically get your product. So it's like basically doing an end run around a debit transaction. So you're not actually doing a swipe buy. You're technically pulling cash out and then giving it to them, and then they'll give you the change or whatever is left. So sometimes they'll put it so that it looks like a legitimate ATM transaction. Uh, they'll have it set at a certain number. Um, so that news came out. There was some follow up. I saw an article on MJ Biz Daily by John Schroyer, who's their chief correspondent. I think it was dated December 21st, 2021, and updated December 29th, 2021. But I would recommend looking that up, and it was a short read. Um, but he talks about the issue. Um, and I think one of the conclude or one of the things that he notes is that would this raises the question of would this crackdown hurt Visa? Like, are they not doing enough business with swipes that this cashless ATM uh, situation would hurt them? I don't know. I don't think that would. I think they're big enough. They're doing enough business that But who the hell am I? Again, do your own research, come to your own conclusions. Not giving you legal advice, not giving you financial advice. But that's interesting. So one of the things that developed because of this weird quasi gray market that the states finds themselves in, or the people running these retail shops in states where it's legal. Um, how do I collect money safely? So holding a lot of cash is not always safe. And one solution that came up a few years ago, which I'm kind of following lightly, I haven't done a deep dive into them, but it was Can Pay. And they basically have this app, I guess, or system where you basically put money into it and then you have a credit that you could use at the marijuana dispensaries. I think they started out in Colorado. Um, it looks like not 100% on this information. This is just stuff I pulled off of Googling it. But it looks like there's a guy named Dustin, EIDE, was the founder. And at that time, and when this article was written, there was about 2 employees. And this is right at the very beginning. And it was a self-funded venture, and it launched in November of 2016 in Colorado, with offices in Colorado. Um, Now, like I said, I haven't done a deep dive into this company, but I know there are several places that use this um, for their marijuana. Like several retailers that I know use this service, so that maybe they're bigger than Colorado or anything like that. Now, this is about 5 years later now, so I'm gonna try to do some more research into that and see, because I'm thinking, like, was there a missed opportunity here? Like is there something that could have been done as far as cryptocurrency and marijuana? Like there couldn't have been a partnership with some of the dispensaries, um, where there'd be some kind of marijuana coin or seed coin or whatever coin that you could get these dispensaries to accept as payment. Maybe even if you made it a stable coin or not, I don't know. But I think there's some smart people out there that can take advantage of that opportunity, or could have taken advantage of that opportunity. I don't know. Maybe someone did try. Uh, I always find myself coming up with these brilliant ideas, and uh, someone thought of it and tried it, didn't work, or they already had that idea going, and just didn't realize that somebody else was already doing it. So who knows? But I think that would be interesting. I think that would be something I would definitely buy into versus just some kind of app that's recommended to me by a dispensary. Like if there was something that's more that I could actually use it in other places too, uh, it would make sense to me to do that. So I don't know, just a consumer talking. All right. Other thing is we've heard a lot of news lately about a study that came out. I think it's like all the mainstream media uh, is reporting it. You got Bloomberg, Forbes, and everywhere else. I don't know what you people read, but look at your sources. But basically, the short of it is they're saying there's a study out there that finds that certain cannabis compounds or marijuana compounds help prevent infection by COVID-19. Um, so, wow, breakthrough news. Is this going to have some kind of huge impact on the market? Uh, is this going to change things for people? Or is this going to boost marijuana stocks? I don't know. Uh, I don't think so. I think there's been a lot of this uh, news back and forth about marijuana since COVID started. So I kind of wanted to just do a quick look at some of these headlines. Um, so as early as February of 2020, there was already reports and rumors of uh, whether weed kills coronavirus. So this was that's the very beginning, and we were already speculating as to whether marijuana has some kind of impact. Now, me personally, I don't know. I think I got COVID twice, and I've been a medical marijuana user the whole time, so I don't think it had any uh, huge impact on whether you get it or not. I did get one of the vaccine shots, and I can say since then I've had like maybe 20 exposures, and I haven't caught COVID. But that's also that I had it twice, so maybe you don't get it a third time, and then the jab just gave an extra protection or didn't do much of anything. I don't know. I'm not a scientific expert. I'm just telling you my experience. Um, all right, so this article that I pulled up, it was already after this rumor was getting hot and getting some steam, and people were just doing a fact check on it. And I think it even I think it was in out in India that it really got like some coverage or big big following. But people are saying no, weed doesn't help. In fact, they started coming up with articles just after that in March of 2020, talking about, does cannabis put you at a higher risk for coronavirus? So they were flipping the script to the complete opposite. So as soon as those rumors rolled out, they came back with no, it's actually putting you at a higher risk. This is a problem. Interesting. There was a Cannabis and Coronavirus, Here's What You Need to Know article by Leafly. And this was done on 4/20, of course, of 2020. And one of the points that they raised in that article was, can cannabis or CBD prevent or cure COVID-19? And they're like, no, just flat out no. And that's like a direct quote saying, given the general hype around CBD, we're already hearing outlandish claims about its effect on coronavirus, most likely spread via social media. These claims are not true. There is no solid research on CBD and coronavirus or cannabis and coronavirus. Well, maybe they were correct at that time, but turns out that there's a new study that says these rumors were right. So maybe there's some truth in where the rumor started, maybe not. Maybe there's people just speculating again. But again, in April, there was an article out from CNN saying that smoking weed and the coronavirus, even occasional use, raises the risk of COVID-19 complications. So again, they've been hammering down this marijuana is going to be more hurtful to you with COVID than otherwise. Then I saw an article pop up from UNM, and they were talking about, can cannabis help ease the mind in the age of COVID-19? So I like to think of your health as including your mental health. So I think that is interesting that they at least came out with an article talking about how maybe it's helping you mentally if you're using marijuana, dealing with the whole COVID thing. There was also an interesting article and from Yahoo Finance, actually, that I definitely recommend taking a look at. They were saying, the title of the article is The Cannabis COVID Connection, What We Know and What We Don't Know. And that's by Andrew Ward, and it looks like it was published on August 19th of 2021. And if I'm remembering correctly, he goes through, or he like bullet points like a few doctors' opinions or comments on this stuff. So I think that was an interesting, quick, 2-second, maybe not 2-second, 2-minute read. But basically saying, we really don't know whether it helps or doesn't help. There's not enough information out there. Then again, later on in 2021, we get reinforcement of this substance abuse raises risks of COVID after vaccination, especially if it's marijuana. So there was that popping out. That was out of the Miami Herald in October of 2021, October 7th particularly. The New York Post also came out with an article around that time, October 10th, 2021, from Patrick Riley at the New York Post, saying smoking marijuana could lead to breakthrough COVID cases, study finds. So they're basically saying if you got vaccinated and you're using marijuana, it might nullify your vaccination. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but that again leads me to believe, you know, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Who knows um, what medical uses marijuana has, and that's part of the reason why we need legalization, and we need to allow our laboratories and schools and researchers to study this um, more in depth, and to get that information and to find out what medical uses it has and what other possible uses it has. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting to share because I know everybody's going crazy about this news with you know marijuana potentially being able to prevent um, COVID, but telling you don't you know this is still way early on. We need more studies. We need more information. So you know don't always buy into some of the hype of these articles. Um, but as far as Sndl coming up, I've been thinking about it, and I'm definitely gonna try to buy more if I could get it. Below that 56 cent mark where it seems to be hovering. I don't know if it's gonna bounce up. It might just happen, but I don't think, like I said earlier in the video, the news coming up from this merger. I don't see that affecting tomorrow's day in the market, but it could have an effect on the next day, depending on what happens, or if there's even anything reported on it, which there might not be. So uh, let's see what happens and what's going on with that. Um, but I and this is something I didn't look into and I wanted to look into before the market. So maybe I'll just do this live with you, even though there's nobody watching. Um, but let's see. So I heard somebody report that Sundial, every time it's at risk of delisting, uh, has a run up to over $1 and organically stays off the delisting or staves off the delisting. So I'm wondering if that's true. Um, and if it is true, then is that something that we can expect coming up in the next 2 weeks? Because that's the estimated time is about February. The first week of February is when they would be set to either. I guess they would be asking for an extension if they don't um, they don't reach $1, and they have to reach $1. I think for about 10 days consecutively, about on average. So if it goes to $1.10 and then hovers and then gets to 99 cents, 98 cents, that might be okay. And we've seen Sundial hit that price, I think in November of last year. So it's not like it's completely impossible. Um, then it dropped right back down. So if it does go up, maybe think about taking profits. But I totally understand if you don't want to, because this Sundial delisting. It'll take me forever to look through this news, but let's see. There's something that pops up. All right, so I'm just gonna do one of them because I see this is from 2020, and so this is back when they're at 17 cents. Oh wait, no, yeah, no. They were 17 cents over $1, so they were still over $1. Okay, that doesn't really help me figure out. Start the clock. Cannabis stock delisting countdown has begun. This was March of 2018. Yeah, I don't know. Probably cut this part of the video out. I don't know. Looks like they're saying sometime in March, but then that would have been somewhere in November, and who knows. So I don't know if that's true. Maybe somebody knows. Comment. Every time Sndl was facing this delisting, or have they faced and got a notice before for delisting, and if they did get that notice, what happened afterwards? As far as it doesn't look like they've gotten extensions before. So if you don't know about extensions, basically a lot of companies, if they're hovering below that dollar mark, if they're going through some kind of merger or acquisition or something like that, it's likely that they'll ask for an extension while they're going through that. So that could have been a reason why this whole acquisition with Alcana came about and is being closed. That could be definitely used as an excuse to ask for an extension here. Again, not giving legal advice. What I'm saying may not be true. Do your research or consult a professional. But yeah, so that could potentially happen where they get another 180 days to raise up their stock price. And then I believe they still have that stock buyback program, and we haven't heard much news about that. So interested to hear more about what's going on with that. And let's see what the future holds. My prediction, I think it might get to over $1. I think it'll have a spike, and then it might drop back down, unless we get some kind of solid marijuana legalization news or something else like that. But I could see them definitely. Maybe it's the earnings report that comes out, or some more news about movement with their cash flow that they have. Who knows what it's going to be, but I am hopeful that mid-February will be in that 90 cents range to $1, maybe $1.10. I don't think we'll stay there for long, but we'll see. Let's see what happens. Again, not Nostradamus, not your lawyer, and I'm not your financial professional. So go do your research. Trust no one.